Go.
This is Jim and I'm back. So now we're outside. We're going to mount the riggers. It's hot. I'm going to be dripping sweat. My apologies. The boat comes with your tool here, and this is where the riggers bolt down. They bolt down like this. Try to stay out of the sun. They bolt down like this. So let me tell you real quick. There are 4 holes in each position here, and 2 of the holes have plugs in them. And these are put in, it's an Allen head if you ever want to change them out. But basically, these are in case you have an accident and you tear up a set of threads, you can still go, you can then go to the backup holes and you can keep going and use the bolts there, put in new bolts. There's a metal plate, fiberglass in the boat. If you ruin all the holes, you have to repair it by cutting a hole in the boat, taking this out, putting in a new plate. It's not a good thing to do. So these are extra holes just in case. Do not take the plugs out. You want to leave them in, and I would say every 6 months go ahead and just back them out, put some grease on them, and put them back in so they remain free. While I'm on that subject, when you get the boat, it's a good idea, take a bolt, grease it, and just put it in each hole with your fingers and make sure that it goes in correctly, and you should be able to screw it down with your fingers. I will tell you, I did receive one boat where dirt had gotten into the hole, and we started putting the bolts in, it got tight, and we stopped. If the bolts get tight, carefully back them out, clean it out, grease it up, and put your bolt back through. If it will not go through with a minimal amount of force, you have to get a thread cleaner and clean them out. If you wreck the threads on the bolt, or you wreck the threads in the hole, once they wreck, it's going to lock the threads, and you're going to end up cutting it to get it out of there. Okay, moving along. So we have our rigger here. I have already reinstalled the port rigger over here. And just real quick, talking about the boats, the bow is the front of the boat. That's the bow. Even though you sit backwards, this gets confusing sometimes. The bow is the front. The starboard is the starboard side of the boat as you're looking towards the bow. The port is the port side of the boat as you're looking towards the bow. The stern is obviously the stern. It gets a little confusing because when you're sitting backwards in the boat rowing, it could get confusing talking about port and starboard. But so I have installed the port rigger. I'm going to install the starboard rigger. Again, this is marking the T. So what I do, I've already confirmed that all my bolt holes are clean. And what I found works best is I take my grease, put some grease on the threads, and what I found works best is basically lay the rigger on the boat and put one of the inward bolts on the inside. Start it with your finger and make sure it goes in with your fingers only. That way you know you're not cross-threading it. And that will then hold the rigger. Now you can work through your other bolts. So I'll now take each of the other bolts. It is a little greasy. It's one of the reasons that we use a clear lithium grease, is that way it's not such a mess in the boat. So I put some grease on here. I'm going to go to my next hole. Start that one. Begin with this one. And I'm happy with plenty of grease. For me, the more grease the better. Now, let me mention this. Where we set the riggers, I'll show you this in a minute. The weld here, I found on this boat, the welds are a little farther than they should be. And the washer, a normal washer would hit the weld. I actually, if you look closely, I actually ground a flat spot on these washers because the way I set the rigger, I didn't want it to hit that weld spot. I don't know if that's something that just happened on this particular weld up or if all of them are like that. I have not had another set come in where I had to do this. So I put my washer on there to get this one started. Now I've got a little flat spot because this weld right here is a little close. The way I set my riggers And I'm going to give you the generic set for you to start rowing your boat. After you start rowing your boat, you're going to find other things that you like to do and customize. This rigger can be set anywhere through this range, or you can move up to the forward holes if you'd rather. And how you set up as a rower, that's where getting with an experienced rowing coach and setting things up will help you out. But in the beginning, your pressure is going to be this way on the rigger and pulling this way on the rigger. So what I do is, boats are built square, so I just push it forward, and I push it where basically once I lock it down, I'm pushing forward and I'm pushing here, and then I just tighten my bolts down and just snug them. Get a little bump. Yep, it's solid. Now, you do not want to over tighten these, so just a nice amount of pressure. Don't strip them out, don't over tighten them, but they should be snug.